Video, okay. Hey guys, new video here. The 100% Grinding Gear Games backed tier list. I'd say 99.5% accurate. And we're going to put them in the tiers of S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and actually cringe. We're going to rate it from 0 to 10 in terms of clearing, bossing, fun, and anime. Anime is either 0 or 1. You're either anime rating or not. Okay. Talked about Abyssal Cry. Abyssal Cry is important because Creparian once used Abyssal Cry in his build when he returned to the game. It slows enemies, it gives you a free Profane Boom pop when the enemy dies, and remember, it can be scaled. Alright, you can make war cries instant these days. As for the anime rating, making enemies explode while screaming is pretty anime, because if you watch Black Clover, Abyssal Cry is going to go into... It's going to go into the C tier. Ancestral Protector. It's going to go into the cringe tab because Ancestral War Chief exists. Ancestral Protector is worse than War Chief. So Protector gives you more attack speed. But I'm going to cut down this video. It's going to be like 20 minutes long. 19% more melee damage. So because the War Chief exists, the Protector is actually cringe tier. You want more damage on the first hit. If you have to attack twice, you might as well play Greater Rift 150 in Diablo. If you move too far away from the War Chief, it stops attacking. So because of that, it's not that great. The bossing ability it actually does a lot of damage to bosses because it's too clunky. Hard to scale the AoE. It is kind of a cool playstyle in the fact that the totem is already supported by something. You don't have to like add something to it. It's definitely a C tier. And mostly a supplementary skill as well, which we'll take into effect. We now have a skill called Anger. When we talk about auras, we have to talk about their Watcher's Eye components. Watcher's Eye for Anger is increased fire damage, physical as extra, up to 40% physical converted, crit multi while you're affected by Anger. Because of the Watcher's Eye, it's actually pretty good. Big Ignites are kind of strong, and fire damage is pretty good. Especially if you need to convert 40% fit to fire, it's actually so good. Overall, the damage boost is not that great. You don't use it on a lot of skills. Fire is maybe the laggiest element in the game. Anger actually makes your ignites bigger because sometimes you can't scale the ignite past a certain point. Because I'm going to put Anger in the B tier. If anyone in the video needs to know the credentials, I've played every skill in the game to level 100. I'll prove it right now. Hold on. I can't show my Twitter because there might be some anime stuff going on. Look at my Twitter, dude. Yo, look at the homepage on my Twitter. Jesus Christ. What is it? What's going on there? Look at this. Every single ascendancy to level 100. And I deleted the other level 100s because you have to pay for extra character slots in this game and I couldn't afford it. But I have like 150 other level 100 characters that I deleted. Next, AG. Let's talk about Anime Jardian. Anime Jardian as a main skill is terrible. Just because you can complete all the content with it doesn't mean that you should. If you're like me and you have no friends, it's nice to have friends in the game. That's why people play summoners. It's a free friend as a support role, especially in PoE 2. In PoE 2, every single build in the entire game will have a 6-link Anime Jardian. That is a fact. I believe that if you're a mapping build, or even if you have the slots for it, if you're a bossing build, whatever other content, I think you should have the Anime Jardian because it can give you items, the Kingmaker, the Victario's boots, okay? The helmet, the Leer cast, right? The Tyrant's crown. You can use a Carcass Jack to expand the Kingmaker aura. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to say Anime Jardian as a skill. In its support role, the Anime Jardian is an S tier because you get rarity, you get multi, you get culling strike, you get free fortify, you get move speed, you get damage, you get added elemental damage of your choice if you use the Tyrant's crown. But overall, as an active gem, if you're going to use it to actually play the game, it will be an actually cringe tier. The range is small. Yeah, but you can use a meat shield to make it closer to you. Anime weapon, nobody plays anime weapon either anymore because of the... And the reason that nobody plays anime weapon anymore is because of the clunkiness, and people love quality of life in ARPGs. It's just a weird skill. It gets a 1 in the anime factor. Let's talk about Arch. Arch has been nerfed. The biggest nerf to hit Arch is chaining distance was halved. I'm not talking about Whale Arch. I'm talking about regular Arch, okay? Not the corrupted version. The corrupted version has its chaining distance. The regular arch is literally half the chaining distance that it was before. So when I was playing with casts on crit and other versions, I did notice that sometimes packs would look like to you that they were really close together, but the arch would not go to the next packs. The MTX is amazing. Automaton and Purple Arch look really good, but a shadow of its former self. I'm gonna have to put it at the B tier. If you knew what it used to be, it is not that anymore. It's like when they did my boy VPS. It's when they killed my boy Whale Power Siphon. Arctic Armor as an aura. 25% mana reservation cost. It leaves a trail of frozen ground that is extremely tiny. It's less physical and fire. For 25% reservation, that's another Herald. Almost a blasphemy. Although less damage multipliers like that are strong, nobody uses this anymore. I believe that this skill would be good if it was 10% mana reservation. This is Arctic Breath. Okay, Arctic Breath got reworked recently. Expand has a dot component and it has a hit component. Travels over the ground, which makes it kind of bad. Okay, but you want to scale one or the other. You don't want to have like a half hit, half dot unless you're some kind of ignite. I'm going to put Arctic Breath in the C tier. Next, Armageddon Brand. Armageddon Brand goes into the actually cringe tier instantly because Storm Brand exists. Storm Brand ticks really fast and it's instant damage, whereas the Armageddon Brand has a very slight delay, so you can actually get killed while your Armageddon Brand is smashing into the ground. Kind of good bossing because it has good damage and it can ignite. Okay, so it goes into the actually cringe tier here. Aspect of the Avian. Nobody uses Aspect of the Avian because of the mana cost, and you can use Aspect of the Cat or Spider. Goes into the cringe tier. Aspect of the Cat is actually pretty cool, because there's ways to become fully invisible with Aspect of the Cat. I'm going to put it in the A tier. Crutchy Annie's Aspect here, kind of garbage. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put it in the actually cringe tier here. Aspect of the Spider is going into the S tier. Sometimes it can be hard to fit in. It is a free temp chains. It's a free MTX that covers the enemies in spider webs. The enemies take up to 15% more damage by default. If you stack it up, it stacks very fast. Builds that use damage over time and not hits, they can struggle to find more sources of damage. Aspect of the Spider kind of fills that role where if you're looking for a little extra damage, you can use this for your dot build as well. This is Assassin's Mark. S tier. Curse on hit. On the rings usually. They even come on gloves. This is just basic attack. You start with this. Any character you create will have this ability no matter what. The best of the S tier. Try to get past the Twilight Strand without basic attack. You can't do it. Fireball? How are you going to get your fireball? How are you going to get your fireball without basic attack, huh? That's what I thought, buddy. Alright, this guy doesn't play the game. Trade? You can't trade on Twilight Strand. So you first monster drops a gem. Yeah. How are you gonna kill the first monster without basic attack? You can't even attack with your fists without basic attack. Okay. Ball lightning is actually pretty funny. You can have a lot of these proj. It's like elemental arrow from Diablo. Feels slow even though it can do everything. I'm gonna give ball lightning a C rating. Let's talk about Bane real quick. It is easy to use. It's new player friendly. It does big damage even though it got like a nerf recently. The AoE scales out of control if you want it to. It has amazing synergies with Ascendancy, synergies with other curses. I have to give Bane an S tier rating. Dot skills are always going to be slower than hitting skills. Fun? It is very fun. Some skills actually look like they were made at the same time that Bill Gates created Macintosh. But Bane is new. It's global illumination. Barrage, now, this is before 3.9, okay? I'm going to put it in the cringe tier. Bear Trap, instantly into the cringe tier because of the rework to mines and other traps. Other traps have more AoE, more reliable damage. The clearing is like a -10, okay? Clearing ability for Bear Trap, -10. Anime ability, 0. And the fun factor, also -10. Berserk. More attack speed, more damage, and more movement speed. It goes into the S tier instantly. The fun factor is a 12 out of 10 when you pop it, especially if you're already a berserker that can sustain the rage costs very easily. The clearing ability, even though it's a supplementary skill, is 10 out of 10. The bossing ability, once again, you pop it on a boss. If you're a berserker, it'll last like, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds if you want. And should be enough time for you to kill a non-phased boss. Literally an anime called Berserk. So Berserk gets the certified 1 out of 1 anime rating. Bladefall, I'm going to put in the C category. Now, if you're casting on crit and stuff like that, it's just going to pop where your mouse is. So it feels kind of bad. The clearing ability, I give it a 7 out of 10. The bossing ability, because it's a physical based spells, and physical based spells are OP, 7 out of 10. Fun factor, it does look pretty good. It's got demonic and a golden shower bladefall. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10 fun ability. And the anime ability, raining swords from the sky, that's pretty anime. I give it a 1. It gets a certified anime rating as well. Let's talk about Blade Flurry. I'm going to put Blade Flurry in the A tier. It used to be one of the most overpowered skills in the entire game. In terms like numbers wise, it just blew everything out of the water. Blade Storm actually goes into the cringe tier. Because leveling with it, there's better options. Endgame, there's better options. Blade Vortex. I'm going to put Blade Vortex in the S tier. An iconic skill. It is a fun skill. Now, Blast Rain is getting a big buff, but right now, no one uses Blast Rain. I'm going to put the Blast Rain in the actually cringe tier. Right here. For now. I'm going to put that in the cringe tier. Although, next league, it could be really good. Because they said all the arrows overlap. It's, scaling arrow damage. It could be pretty good. So 3.9, it probably won't be cringe. It'll probably be an option for single target. Let's talk about Blight. Alright, Blight, when you have Blight in the name, it reminds me of Blight League. So that goes into the cringe tier automatically. We don't need to talk about that. Blink Arrow is used while leveling. It is a supplementary skill. It does have a desync thing where sometimes you'll shoot a Blink Arrow and it won't go off. I'm going to give it a B. Blood and Sand. Now, it has a 10%... Blood and Sand has a 10% reservation cost, making it a very strong aura. It's always a choice that's in the back of your mind. A tier. Because Flesh Offering is in the game, this is going to be in the actually cringe tier. It's just outclassed by other things. Next, we have Blood Rage. Now, I personally don't really like Blood Rage. I'm going to put Blood Rage in the B tier. We don't really need to talk. Like, nobody uses this, right? This is like, it's just like the most clunky. Next, Bone Armor. Bone Armor is going to go into the A tier. If you care about tankiness, the Bone Offering ability would be like B tier, maybe A tier for survivability, but nobody plays hardcore these days. Brand Recall, very good skill. Refreshes the brands, pretty good. Burning Arrow is getting buffed in 3.9, the A tier after 3.9. Whale Burning Arrow is complete trash because it doesn't fly across the ground. Right now, actually Burning Arrow is going to be like C tier. Let's talk about Caustic Arrow, the C tier. It used to be amazing. There was a certain league where everyone and their mom was playing like plus bow gem. They were making plus like bows, plus bow skill bows, and they were just everyone was playing this skill, and it's pretty bad right now. Okay, Chain Hook, I tried out. It is actually cringe. It misses half the time. The range is bad. The animation is clunky. It doesn't support the rage. Like gaining rage at the cost of how bad it is not worth it. Charge Dash is interesting because it's hard to control. You gotta play with this a lot to kind of get used to it. It's weird. The scaling of the skill is kind of strange. They've updated a little bit to be a little bit more intuitive. It stays out of the cringe tier because it's different. Clarity with a Watcher's Eye can be nice in certain builds where you want something to be, you might want something to be closer to 0 mana cost or 0 mana cost. The mana actually doesn't do anything by itself. The Clarity, if you need mana, you wouldn't really put on a Clarity thing to do it anymore. I give Clarity a C rating. It stays out of cringe because it has Watcher's Eye potential for ES and for reducing the cost of your, I believe it's non-channeling. I think they actually nerfed the Watcher's Eye. So it's not just flat mana reduction, it's only mana reduction for non-channel. This is Cleave. So the Cleave has low AoE, Cleave at the cringe tier. Cobra Lash, a C rating. Cold Snap has a cooldown that can be bypassed, but because it has a cooldown, you can't really reliably use this. I'm going to put it in the actual cringe tier. Concentrated Path is a movement and damage ability. I give it a solid B. It's an okay skill. Connectivity, sometimes people use it to self-curse when they're leveling. I'm going to put it in the C tier. Contagion. Ooh, this is like, okay, Contagion is weird because it goes hand in hand with Essence Drain. I'll review these two together, okay? Very high A tier. I'm gonna put it at the top of A tier, actually. because it is Essence Drain. You just can't go wrong with it. It is solid. Put this in the Cringe tier because you literally cannot play with this skill in the current form. It doesn't work. There are limits to it. Nobody even knows what it is. I don't know why the icon is this. This is a conversion trap. Basically, it turns a monster to fight for you. The worst skill in the entire game. The Complicate. Now, the Complicate brings all your minions to you. It gives them a little bit of life regen. Every single summoner uses this, even though minions teleport. I'm going to put it in the A tier. This is not an active skill gem. This comes from the goal. This goes into the S tier. It is right here. Cremation is cool. Cremation reminds me of the Druid ability called Volcano in Diablo 2, although it has less AoE and it requires corpses and random-ish damage. Nobody really uses this, so I'm going to put this in the Cringe tier. I'm going to put it in the Cringe tier because it just doesn't do enough for what it needs. What do you think about Cyclone? Cyclone is in the S tier. It is instrumental in Cast on Crit. If you're going to use Cast on Crit without Cyclone, it's questionable. Let's talk about Dark Pact. So that's going to go into the C tier. Next, Dash. I really like the Dash skill. I'm going to put the Dash skill in A. Now, Deathmark used on a lot of summoners in the previous league. I used it a lot. It's pretty good. I'm going to easily put this in the A tier. Decoy Totem is for hardcore boys. Decoy Totem is almost never used in softcore, which is 99% of the player base. Instantly goes in the Cringe tier. This is Desecrate. Desecrate is for getting your Spectres. Okay, if your Spectres ever die or you need to change your Spectres, because it is like instrumental, okay, you have to have the, well, it's not S tier just because it's instrumental, it just goes in A tier. Despair. I'm going to put it in the A tier. It is a very strong curse. Definitely, if you're doing a dot build or especially a Chalice build, it is considered quite often. I like it. I like Determination. Determination instantly goes into the Cringe tier. Detonate Dead. I've tried to experiment with Detonate Dead. It is actually a hilarious skill because they changed the visual on DD to look amazing. It does massive damage. The scaling is kind of weird from other spells because even though it has the tags, you guys scale it different ways. It is a fun skill, and Whale Detonate Dead is pretty hilarious too. But overall, the skill is, I'm gonna say it's a C tier. Devour Totem goes into the actually Cringe tier. Discharge goes into, these days, Discharge goes into the A tier. Discipline Aura, I'm gonna put in the A tier because if you decide, 35% mana reservation is a little bit steep, I think. It's good, but 35% is tough. Better for low life, but if you are going ES, you always consider the Discipline Aura. Divine Ire. Ooh, Divine Ire. The bossing ability is 10 out of 10. The bossing ability is actually 10 out of 10, maybe 11 out of 10 because of the Eternity Shroud, the conversions. It is one of the few skills that can take advantage of quite a bit of conversions. Put it in the A tier. Dominating Blow might be the worst of the summoning skills. It's going to go in the actually Cringe tier. Double Strike is going to go into the actually Cringe tier. Dual Strike, hitting with both weapons. This is like equal. It's the same exact thing as the other skill. So it's also going to go into the Cringe. This is Dread Banner. I might even put it in S tier, but it's only for like one type of build really. So I'm putting it in A tier. Earthquake has one of the coolest. It has a Crystal Earthquake MTX. One has one of the coolest MTX in the game. The AoE is okay. You have to have a Helm Enchant. Because you have to have a Helm Enchant and you need the less duration, it takes some setup. I'm going to put it in the B tier. Elemental Hit is going to go into the S tier for me. The reason, so Elemental Hit is so good that even after a monstrous nerf, like an absolutely ridiculous nerf, it is still so good. The one downside, it looks like an auto attack, but Celestial Elemental Hit is 100% coming this coming league. So it has good coverage. It has a built-in AoE. It has a built-in AoE modifier if it's already elemental ailmented. Elemental Hit is good. It is a good bow skill across the board. It's actually like, I guess, 3 bow skills in one if you wanted to. So it also has variety. You can go cold or fire. Is this Elemental Weakness? Elemental Weakness goes into the S tier for curses. Elemental Weakness is one of the top tier things you look on for corruptions. One that I use the most on my builds. So Elemental Weakness, easy S tier. Enduring Cry. Why would I press this button when I could press my damage button and clear the screen, right? Enfeeble. Enfeeble is, okay, so this is, I'm going to put Enfeeble in the S tier. And the reason I'm going to put Enfeeble in the S tier is because although you don't always go for Enfeeble, it is technically one of the best skills. And let me show you why. It has less on less multipliers, okay? There's less damage, there's less accuracy. It is just insane. Let me just show you the stats at level 20. So if you have like a curse spot or something, right? Or if for whatever reason you're poor and you have to get Enfeeble, level 12 Enfeeble on your gloves instead of LE weakness. First of all, they're not gonna hit you as much. Then they're not gonna crit you as much. Then even if they do hit you, it's a huge less damage multiplier, right? And it is just insane. Ethereal Knives are with a cast on crit setup, it is very strong. It has some of the highest coverage in cast on crit in the entire game. You can scale projectile speed. You can get the Helm enchant, which is very good, which is actually AoE. Like, the thing about projectile skills is that scaling Proc speed is a true multiplier to AoE. It is not squared in the way that AoE is. It's going to go in the A tier. Explosive Arrow. Explosive Arrow in 3 point... Right now, Explosive Arrow is bad. Explosive Arrow is kind of a meme, kind of like Elemental Hit was a meme. But next league, 3.9, Explosive Arrow is going to be S tier. At the moment, it is cringe. Explosive Trap can actually have good coverage. It can have good boss damage. Kind of nice. I'm going to put it in the B tier. Fireball. Fireball in itself, though, for clearing, it's got a slow cast time. I'm going to put Fireball in the B tier as a skill. No, actually, like, Fireball is actually in the C tier as a skill. But Whale Fireball is in the S tier. Just a quick note for the YouTube video. Firestorm can have big AoE. It is RNG dependent on if something gets hit a lot more. It used to be used a lot in cast on crit to generate the charges. It's actually in the cringe tier. Next, Fire Trap. Now, Fire Trap can be very high damage. Bossing damage, it can be like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 because of that one mask, and you can do like the Shroud of the Lightless. Traps are bad at clear. So the bossing ability, 8 or 9 out of 10. Clear, 2 out of 10. That'd be in the C tier. Flame Blast. Flame Blast is actually cringe. Even with cast speed, it's slow. The AoE is not that great for how it starts off. The Whale Flame Blast goes in reverse. That's like so weird to me. The monsters will move out of the Flame Blast most of the time. Flame Dash. Flame Dash goes in the S tier. It is great for leveling. It's an instant cast, okay, as long as you don't have 0 charges. Is this Flame Surge? I've played Flame Surge. A Spectre is better than you because they use Lightning Surge, okay? The Flame Surge right now goes into the cringe tier. Flamethrower Trap has limited uses and a long recharge time. The AoE is okay. The Flamethrower Trap is going to go into the... Yeah, it's gonna go into the actually cringe tier. Flammability. So easily get over 100% ignite chance that you get it for free on the Fire and Presence. If you do want to use that early on, you get lucky with a kill. Flesh and Stone. I really wish that this skill was a 10% mana cost instead of 25. It can be linked with Maim. It is S tier in function and defense, but because you can't fit it in a lot of the time, it becomes down to the A tier, okay? So this is Flesh Offering. Flesh Offering for Necromancers is insane. It can affect you. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It makes you faster, it makes you cast faster, it makes your minions faster. Flicker Strike. What do you guys think about Flicker Strike? Flicker Strike, I can say this from playing it. It is a lot worse to watch than it is to play. It's usable, but not great. It literally teleports behind you. Wait, is this actually Freeze Mine? Is that a thing? They renamed it Icicle Mine. Freezing Pulse, I'm going to put in the A tier. I don't really like Freezing Pulse, but I think there's a good argument for A tier. The projectile speed is solid out of the box. It has a nice MTX. It can be played with totems. It can be played on cast on crit. It can be played as self-cast. Because Kripparrian used to play a Marauder back in the day, and he used GMP shotgunning Freezing Pulse with a Comb's Heart and a Terran's Shiver. We have Frenzy. Frenzy used to be used in Volatile Dead PP, Poet's Pen. Nowadays, Frenzy is actually going to the cringe tier. Let's take the build as itself. If you're going to play a Frenzy build, your clear is literally 0. Next, we have Frostbite. Frostbite is not really used. If you crit and you hit, I mean, you're not going to have a problem freezing or chilling anyways. Next, Frostblades. Okay, Frostblades. Clear is nice. It looks good. It is fun to play. I give it a 9 out of 10 fun factor. I put it in A tier because for an attack that has that much range, you are a ranged melee, which is the one thing that melee suffers from. Frostblink. Frostblink is usable. While cycloning, you can actually frostblink without canceling the cyclone. That's the only reason it's not cringe. It has a longer cooldown, so it's like a much worse dash or flame dash, but it has a nice MTX. Is this Frostbolt? Frostbolt on totems looks pretty cool. Frostbolt self-cast. Frostbolt has like insanely high damage base. It can be good clear. Give it Frostbomb. Now the Frostbomb, as a build, you are not going to be doing it. As a leveling skill is really nice early on. There. This is Ice Wall. Ice Wall is used in the Delve for protection, but it's not really a build, so I'm going to have to put it in the C tier. This is the Donald Trump skill. They've removed the kind of the shotgunning that you can do, that you used to be able to do with things like kinetic blast with it, so no fun allowed. Glacial Hammer. Glacial Hammer goes in the actually cringe tier. It's just a bad skill. Right now, it's just a bad skill, alright? It's a shame that as a Templar, you have to use this skill to kill Hillock. Feels bad. Grace. Grace, I'm going to put in the S tier. Why is that? Dodge chance, that's OP. There's a Watcher's Eye that gives you 50% movement speed, that's OP. Did I skip Glacial Cascade? Glacial Cascade has lost some of its hotness. The Icicle Mine, I believe, is better in most ways. It used to be like A tier, but nowadays, as a build, it gets outclassed by things like Icicle Mines. Single target, Pyroclast are just nutty. I'm going to go ahead and give it a B tier. It's Ground Slam. I'm going to put Ground Slam in the trash tier. So much worse than Tectonic Slam. It looks cool though. Haste Aura. Whale Haste is crazy. I'm going to give it an S rating. Right? Any bit of speed in PoE is good, right? This is attack cast and movement speed. The whale version is much better than the actual aura. The actual aura, if you're not an aura bot, you don't usually use it. Hatred is instantly going to go in the S tier. Insane Watcher's Eye, in my opinion. So no longer are the days of like, oh, I don't have a fifth skill. Now, if you have a cold skill, you can think about Hatred. Realize that you only like the skills in cringe tier. Heavy Strike. Heavy Strike goes into cringe tier, but it's one of those skills that makes you realize how good the other skills are. We are coming up on the Heralds. Oh boy. Let's start with Herald of Agony. Let's judge this as the Agony Crawler build and as the Herald itself. Now, as the Herald itself, the poison chance is not that strong. The Herald of Agony can be very good, but it runs into minion AI. So, if you want to play a minion build, it is worse than the Necromancers, Spectres, Zombies, I mean, hell, even Skeleton, any kind of Infernal Legion, Exploding Minion, SRS, anything. That makes it into the B tier. Herald of Ass, the S tier, it is ridiculous. It is free coverage, free cleanup. Your overkill is so high on the white monsters that not rely on freezing for Herald of Ice or the shocking for Herald of Thunder or multiplier to your physical damage. Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice is probably arguably the best Herald. It's just got the it's got the crunch. Nothing needs to be said about this. Herald of Ice is a staple. It's if you have a hitting build, you might consider this nice damage, some nice cleanup. If your skill doesn't have any added cold damage, this will give you enough to chill and freeze. It's the Herald of Purity. Monster will sometimes attack your minions, so it's a little bit pressure off you if your build is bad. A tier, because it just doesn't have as many applications in builds. Herald of Thunder is half of the auto bomber build, just always up. If you have any kind of lightning damage, it adds lightning damage so you can shock. You can attach curses to it. It is instrumental in self-curse setups. It's gonna go into the S tier as well. The damage of Herald of Thunder is like not bad. What is this? Oh, that's Holy Flame Totem. It has conversion already, so that makes it just already a strong skill. It looks amazing, but the clear, totem clear is always a little bit iffy. I give it a B. It can be pretty good. Ice Crash. Ice Crash got buffed in its AoE. I think it has 34 radius now. It is physical converted, big AoE, has nice damage. I actually use Ice Crash to proc my Rampage on weapon swap. It's just kind of weird, right? I think it's a B tier skill. Ice Nova. Now, Whale Ice Nova is ridiculous. Ice Nova itself, though, without the Frostbolt component as a self-cast, I'm gonna have to put this in the C tier. Ice Nova itself is not that juicy. Ice Shot, I don't like it as much as Lightning Arrow. I'll give it a B tier. It's okay. It does its job. Next league, it might be pretty good. Ice Spear. It had a huge rework. It has a lot of projectiles if you want it to. It doesn't have the punch. Even on cast on crit, I've tried it. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Use the Whispering Ice Staff, you get this ability. A bigger AoE means that the monsters get hit by less shards. You scale it with intelligence, so the setup of it is kind of confusing. Having to scale int and use a two-handed weapon these days, oh boy, puts it into the cringe tier. Okay, MTX is not that fun either, so this is also going to go into the cringe tier. You know what we should do? We should go into PoE Ninja. Darkness, best girl. There's one guy. Feels good. Chimera's Maul. Okay, so this is not actually a skill. The cringe tier, this is the little ice explosion from... Chimera is a... What's that word where you mix up the letters and it spells something else? It's a metaphor. Chimera is a metaphor for America. Back-to-back World War champs, by the way. Is this Icicle Mine? The S tier. Good. It is like actually so good for a mine. It's got coverage. It's got projectiles. It's got scaling. It's got conversion possibilities. It's got good ascendancies behind it. It's new. It's got high damage. It's got everything. We have Immortal Call. Now, Immortal Call got nerfed. I think Steel Skin is better. I think even Molten Shell and Whale Molten Shell is better. I'm going to put in the cringe. Okay, Incinerate goes into cringe. Used to be insane. There was a time when Incinerate was the most meta build. I'm going to put it in actually cringe tier. This Infernal Blow. Infernal Blow does get an anime rating. It looks really good. There's an item called Katava's Feast, which makes it kind of hilarious. With Ancestral Call and all the anointments and stuff you can get in the future, it's kind of cool. It is also name locking. In the B tier, it is fun to play. What is this? Intimidating Cry? Really? Is that a skill? Wait, is that actually a skill in the game? With Feral's Chase on the cringe tier right there. This is Kinetic Blast, a shadow of its former self, but it's still clear. It's very laggy. You really need some walls. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. Lacerate. Lacerate is pretty bad. I've tried Lacerate. AoE is like, it's a little bit weird because the scaling on the weapon range, especially, comes from the skill of the gem. Can't really add weapon range to it. It's gonna go into the cringe tier. Leap Slam. Leap Slam is so much worse than a lot of the other skills in the game. Sometimes you might have to use it, I guess. It's pretty cringe. This is the skill from the Choir of the Storms. If you have to leap slam, then I'm sorry, but I think your build is bad. Well, this skill isn't actually a skill. Choir of the Storm isn't really used that often anymore, so that goes into the cringe tab as well. Let me tell you about Shield Charge here. So Shield Charge is going to go in A tier. I don't think you can like cast on crit with this anymore. It makes a lot of builds, like summoners, a lot faster. Scales off movement speed as well. I'm going to put it as A tier there. Phase Run gets cancelled when you use a skill. Makes frenzy charges. While leveling, I do like it. Phase Run as movement in the B tier right here. This is Medusa's. No one wears that helmet, so that's going to go in the cringe tier. Whirling Blades. I put it in the B tier because if you don't have a shield, you might as well use it. Right? Kind of anime. Lightning Warp, because you have to sacrifice a helm enchant if you want to get the duration down. Kind of clunky. In the cringe tier, also builds that use Lightning Warp look really cool because of MTX. For leveling, Smoke Mine is very good these days. And cast and then press the detonate. It is kind of anime. It does put it in the B tier. Because for lab running and leveling, it's good. Aracali's Fang summons spiders. You have to use an item for it. The spiders cast Viper Strike. They are pretty strong. They're immortal. You can't lose a spider sometimes. It is a new type of minion. Spider build, I'm going to put it B tier. Because it's still worse than some of the other summoner builds, but it is interesting enough to warrant a good rating. A Mirror Arrow. Mirror Arrow is not really a build. One good thing, though, is there's a divination card called the Doppelganger. Makes it so that you get a free GCP when you find 2 of that card. Pretty nice. Lancing Steel. I have some bad memories of when I tried to level with Lancing Steel. It is stronger than it was before. Lightning Arrow is going to go straight to S tier. It has an insanely fast projectile. Shotgun. It's one of those skills that shotgun without intending to. The Helm enchantment is bananas. We have Lightning Spider Trap. Like for leveling, it's okay. I'm going to put it in the B or C tier. All right. Lightning Strike can be so good. It has a whale version, which can be very good. It just runs into terrain issues. Huge terrain issues. I'm going to put in the C tier. Withering Step, I'm going to put in the S tier. Easily kept up on your left click. It is a defensive. It is speed. It is damage a little bit. Steel Skin. Steel Skin with an increased duration on it is quite reliable. It's good protection. I'm going to put that there. This is Lightning Tendrils. Lightning Tendrils was changed recently. I'd say Lightning Tendrils, because Stormburst exists, I think Lightning Tendrils it's kind of cringe and not very fun to play. We have the Lightning Trap. Playing traps is pretty bad these days. It's not terrible. Let's talk about Righteous Fire too. I want to do Righteous Fire. It used to be so good. And you can get a free Righteous Fire now with the Mana Flask. Nowadays is in the B tier. Iconic PoE build, right? Dancing Dervish, besides using it maybe sometimes for Rampage, even though Sinvictus exists, complete trash. Put it in the actually cringe tier. Power Siphon is like, Siphon used to be the best skill in the game with Whale Power Siphon. It looks kind of cool. It got updated visuals. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the actual cringe tier. It's not fun to play, especially not when you played it in Harbinger League. Purity of Elements is cringe unless you're an Aura bot. An actual build and not an Aura bot, you will almost never use these, or the impurity. The mana reservation it costs, you would not take it. You just fix your resists. Precision is in the S tier. Free crit, it's free accuracy. The Watcher's Eyes are pretty darn good for precision. 22 mana. Zealotry. The Watcher's Eye is mediocre. Or multiplier of spell damage. It's hard to fit in over other things. The B tier, because like sometimes it is good. Wrath. Wrath used to be pretty good. The Watcher's Eye, if you need Fizz to Lightning conversion, is pretty good. It is good on leveling if you get a corruption on a ring. The B tier. I would prefer like 2 Heralds over Wrath. Magma Orb looks kind of cool. Projectiles are slow. It does do high damage with the Gloom Fang. And Male Violence for dot builds is almost a requirement. The S tier. Almost every dot build. It is so good. It's Wither. Wither takes too long to stack up. The Totem, it's okay, but you would never cast it yourself. In the single target scenarios, I guess it's pretty good. Molten Shell, lasts a very long time, is good. I'll give it A tier. Punishment, you can't reliably get it, so it's going to go into the cringe tier. If you kill the mob too fast, you can't get this, so it's bad. Warlord's Mark, it is so bad. If you need Warlord's Mark for most of your builds, you need to rethink your choices. 3.9 Ballista will be like S tier, I think, for supplementary skills. Right now, Siege Ballista, it's pretty cringe tier. Viper Strike here. Single target is actually very high if you can invest in it. Could be good, but it's not. I'm going to give it a C rating. Chalice Jolm does not get used because the other Jolms are so much better in the cringe tier. Lightning Jolm is actually S tier. Ice Jolm nowadays in the A tier. The actual summoner build is not bad. Flame Jolm, the increased damage isn't bad. This is Spirit Burst from Light Poacher. Spirit Burst from Light Poacher is now a C tier if you use it, but it's not a real skill. Stone Jolm, actually on a lot of, I put Stone Jolm in the B tier. Carrion Jolm. For summoner builds, the Carrion Jolm, I put in S tier. Looks cool, it attacks fast. It goes pretty nuts, okay? I like it. I'm going to cut down the YouTube video to make it 15 minutes though. Cut out all the parts where I had no idea what I was talking about. War Banner is a low resource, it's a low reservation cost, same level as Dread Banner here. If you remember to put it down for the adrenaline. Temporal Chains, S tier. It allows for a mapping playstyle that trumps everything in the entire game. And as a curse itself, it is so good. For free on Blasphemed Solstice Virgil. It allows for the header builds to truly shine. You'll have one of the best skills in the entire game. Venom Gyre. It's kind of weird. Put it in the cringe tier. Now, Poacher's Mark, if you can get it, is extremely good. Technically good, but most builds might not use it. Spectres, S tier. I don't think anybody can argue that Summon Spectres is definitely in the S tier. 10 builds in one. So make sure to read the patch notes. Rallying Cry goes into the cringe tier, not really used. Raise Zombies. I'm going to put Raise Zombies in the S tier. Now, I personally don't even like zombies that much. Static Strike. Chaining potential can be pretty good. It's just like not there yet. I want to put Static Strike, if you want to invest in it, in the C tier. Vitality Aura is going to be in the actually cringe tier. Nobody uses this aura. Garbage. They should probably do something about this. Summon Skitterbots. Pretty good, actually. Mine skill that is used on a lot of non-mine builds. So I put it in A. It's actually got, they're fast. They give shock and chill. Spectral Throw. Enchants, right? Whether you go Deceleration or you go Projectile Speed or whatever. The Spectral Throw is actually cringe tier. Can't kill Hillock. Tornado Shot. Tornado Shot right now is the God tier skill. It is getting significantly nerfed in 3.9. Vulnerability. If you're a physical skill, it's very good. I'm going to put it in A tier because of the Spirit Offering or whatever. Now, the Spirit Offering is actually pretty good. I put it in the B tier. Unearth is pretty bad. An actually cringe level right now, right? If you were going to do a skill based on Unearth, it would be bad. I'm going to put the Stormblast Mine in the C tier. Stormcall. I'm going to put Stormcall in the S tier. 3.9 we have. So nextly, we're going to have Spell Cascade Plus. And that's going to make it pretty juicy. It is one of the best feeling speed farming builds in the game. Probably want to play the whale version of it, which is a different, more complicated setup, right? Plus is getting renamed. What are they going to call it? Yo, what are they going to call it? Oh, pristine or awakened. I think awakened sounds better. Pristine, there's already the fossil, so it's gonna be like kind of weird, right? Plus was dumb. I don't think plus was that dumb. It's just like, okay, primal ancient. What if in like a year we actually get primal ancient gems? Okay, volatile dead, I'm gonna put in the A tier. I like the necromancer versions. I like the poet's pen versions in the past. Summon skeletons as a build, I'm gonna put it in the C tier. SRS. Now SRS is still pretty sick, so I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Stormbrand, still good. It just doesn't have the coverage of Orb of Storms. Still like what the cast speed does to it. Sunder is now a cringe tier. It's kind of cool, I guess, but it's just kind of bad. I don't like it. This is Bone Spikes, which is not a real skill, so that's gonna go there. Actually, like all these that aren't real skills, let me put these here because I have no idea what these are. Sweep. Actually get the clear of this sweep to be like decent, like bigger than Cyclone, that's for sure. It is clunky. I believe it's scaled by character size. So if your character gets bigger, I believe that sweep looks bigger. Rain of Arrows. I'm gonna put Rain of Arrows in the A tier. Now for leveling, it is S tier. Shattering Steel is decent boss killing. Impale builds are relatively stronger than they were when they came out. Not many people play Shattering Steel, right? Let me take a look at this. Shattering Steel 0. It's all Wave of Conviction. The limited range on it is used as supplementary for leveling, which is very strong. It does apply Exposure. It is a converted skill. Pyroclast Mine for is going to go into the A tier. Boss killing, it is a 10 out of 10. Projectile weakness is going to go... It is actually technically a good skill. I give it a C. So Soul Rend, you have to cast it a little bit too much for my liking. I'm going to put it in the B tier because it has way less duration than the Essence Drain. Puncture. Actually cringe, dude. Puncture is the most cringe skill I've ever seen in my life. You can't even see them. And it is really hard to scale. Shockwave Totem is not actually that bad. I'm going to put the Shockwave Totem in the B tier. Good, and it's kind of fun to play. Tempest Shield. Put in the actual cringe tier because you can only use it if you have a shield. Split Arrow. In 3.9, Split Arrow is getting buffed. It was actually pretty fun. It's going to get very low flat fizz. Winter's Orb used to be S tier. Grinding Gear has a policy. It's called NFA. It's called No Fun Allowed. If people are enjoying their builds, they have to stomp the spirit out of your ass. I'm going to put it in the B tier. They nerfed the range. They nerfed the cast speed when you're not channeling. Pride Ore, although not used that much, is good. It's put in the B tier. It just doesn't have overall applications. Shock Nova used to be one of my favorite skills in the entire game. It's got a lovely MTX, Riftform MTX. It can map clear, 5 out of 10. Wild Strike with the new combat focus gems is pretty cool. It is still name locking. It can be fast in the A tier. Shield Throw. Shield Throw is cringe. I'm not going to talk about this build because this build has potential, but right now it's kind of iffy. Put Spark in the S tier, dude. Spark and Whale Spark are good. Lower the active rearming time. It's fast projectiles. The helmet enchant is cheap and easy to get. Stormburst. Stormburst is a good boss killer. I give it a 8 out of 10. So I'm going to put Orb of Storms in the S tier. As an endgame starter, it clears. It requires no gear. This skill on paper, if you go to the PoE wiki, the skill looks garbage. Shrapnel Shot. Now, Shrapnel Shot is actually cringe right now. It is insanely cringe, but in 3.9, Shrapnel Shot might be A or S tier. If you have a huge shotgunning cone, I'm going to put Toxic Rain in the A tier. Using League Starter. Vortex is hard to scale to AoE. I'm going to put Vortex build in, it's between A and B. I don't know. Searing Bond is actually cringe. It's a 0 across the board. I feel that Searing Bond will be the next Ellie hit. They got to either like buff Conversion Trap, Searing Bond, or Glacial Hammer. Reeve has some decent AoE. You gotta keep the stacks up, right? Use a Whale Reeve. Rejuvenation Tome is never used. That's a cringe. Summon Holy Relic it had potential. Wait, that's gonna be cringe. Nobody uses that. Vigilant Strike, Reckoning, Riposte. They're like counter skills and people don't really play that. They're all cringe. Don't really build a build around that either. It's got no clear. Molten Strike. Okay, Molten Strike has been hella nerfed. The boss killing can be extremely good. Again, the B tier. It's okay. It's still good if you can hit the mobs. Smite I feel Smite is a supplementary skill. Scourge Arrow, I'm gonna put in the S tier. Very good for delving. For mapping, I don't like it, but some people enjoy it for mapping. Perforate. Oh, this skill has 2 modes. You need to be a lurker from StarCraft, or you can summon like the little spikes. Okay, how many people are playing Perforate on PoE Ninja? 4 people playing Perforate. This guy has 438k. This guy's 71k. It's gonna be here. Oh, Pestilence Strike. Storing up the poison. Oh, Purifying Flame. It's just like, okay, it's just an average build. Scorching Ray used with Righteous Fire as B tier. Tectonic Slam I think is actually very good if you can get the Helm enchant. I actually put Tectonic Slam in the A tier. Those are actually cringe. It's actually cringe. Okay,